Hide the children. There's sex, violence, and plenty of carnage as we run down the top 10 games for adult eyes only.
And then we go hands-on with the world premiere of Assault Heroes 2, plus the latest on an FTC undercover GTA 4 investigation. X-Play starts right now.
Hello and welcome to X-Play, the show that hates American Idol as much as you. I'm Adam Sessler.
And I'm Morgan Webb. We're coming to you from the G4 studios in Los Angeles on Thursday, May 8th.
Later on, we'll preview Guilty Gear 2 Overture, the series' first foray into 3D, as well as talk to the creator of the long-running franchise. But first, let's get all of today's top stories in our gaming update.
The Federal Trade Commission has conducted an undercover survey that has revealed a dramatic decrease in the selling of M-rated video games to underage teenagers. The survey found that 20% of underage teenage shoppers were able to buy M-rated video games, a major improvement from 42% in 2006. The most responsible retailers included GameStop and EB Games outlets, where only 6% of underage shoppers were able to obtain M-rated games. Walmart and Best Buy were able to round out the top three at 18 and 20%, respectively. The FTC found that the worst offenders included Hollywood Video, Circuit City, and Kmart retail chains. 40% of underage customers managed to get their hands on M-rated products at Hollywood Video. Time to start asking for some ID, guys. Doom 4 has officially been announced. The game's developer, id Software, is looking to recruit the industry's top talent to help work on the highly anticipated shooter. If you think you've got what it takes, then be sure to visit id's website and submit your resume. Details regarding the game's features have not been revealed, but the game will surely include fireball throwing imps and is expected to take advantage of id Software Rage Engine, which was recently demoed by John Carmack. Finally, Pandemic has finally revealed their so-called secret project by announcing Lord of the Rings Conquest. You might consider this game a spiritual successor to Pandemic's Star Wars Battlefront series of games. Conquest will allow players to choose from every character and race in the Lord of the Rings universe while displaying up to 150 characters on screen in the single-player campaign. Multiplayer will support up to 8 players, and a co-op mode will allow up to 4 players to battle it out. The game is set to release for the 360, PS3, and the PC sometime in the fall of this year. And finally, Forbes recently listed former Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi as Japan's richest man. Due to the tremendous success of the Wii and DS consoles, Yamauchi ranks at 149th place in the world with a value of $7.8 billion. Before stepping down in April of 2005, Yamauchi held a position on Nintendo's board of directors. That's all for today's gaming update. Just a reminder for all of you gaming professionals, if you've got any insider gaming news, be sure to email xplay@g4tv.com with your tips. Or, if you're too lazy, you can visit the news section of our website and click on the tips button. But now let's go over to Adam, who is considered an adult in the United States.
Not all 50. Now, the recent furor over Grand Theft Auto's mature content has prompted many politicians to yell, "What about the children?" Little do they realize that even though GTA 4 is a video game, it's not meant for kids. On top of that, games have swear words and violence. They can be pretty amazing. So here are our picks for the 10 best games that are for adult eyes only. At number 10 in our list of games for adult eyes only, Call of Duty 4 is a no-holds-barred look at the art of war. This game makes our list because it brings a new level of grit to the action genre. Let's face it, how many games start with you getting shot in the face? Number 9 is the Jello Jiggler of video games. Sexy Beach 3 is an import-only delight from the lands of the Far East. Really, who else would design a game where a primary objective is applying lotion onto a woman's chest? Thanks, Japan. You've once again succeeded in setting back civil rights at least a few decades. Granted, there isn't really much of a game here, but thanks to the over-the-top sex scenes, we couldn't help but include this guilty pleasure. At number 8, we have 1998's classic Fallout 2. This role-playing game was set in a post-apocalyptic future where you must find an environmental restoration machine in order to save what's left of humanity. It deserves a spot on this list because it possesses a rare intelligence and wit that would fly over the heads of younger gamers. Plus, it features mutants.
Hello there, smooth skin.
It doesn't take a 5-star general to figure out why Army of Two is on this list of adult games. As if watching a man get his eyes gouged out isn't mature enough for you, prepare to cover your child's ears as Rios and Salem cuss their way to fame and fortune.
Why don't you just shut the f and watch a real professional in action?
We know it isn't actually out yet, but we couldn't help but include Ninja Gaiden 2 as number 6 on our list. From the footage we've seen, it looks like this may just be bloodier than a sorority that cycles together. It's easy to see why mature players everywhere are ravenously anticipating this game for adult eyes only.
Stick around, games 5 through 1 will be revealed later in the show. Now, this generation is full of repackaged top-down shooters, cashing in on your memories of feeding quarters to arcade machines. Instead of buying Ikari Warriors for the 5th time, maybe you should check out something new, like Assault Heroes 2. Adam's about to go hands-on with a world premiere demo.
The Xbox Live Arcade is full of classic shooters, and Wanako Studios' Assault Heroes is a throwback to the arcades of old. The top-down dual-stick action was a hit with gamers, and now a sequel is on the way. Assault Heroes 2 will feature an all-new campaign, the ability to hijack vehicles, and even more cooperative gameplay than ever. Joining us today, the executive producer of Assault Heroes 2, Connie Vermeer. Thanks so much for joining us and bringing Assault Heroes 2.
Thank you very much for inviting me today.
So, obviously the game's notable for many reasons, but the one I want to point out is that this is the first sequel for Xbox Live Arcade. Was that something you intended, or was this due to the success of the original game?
Well, going into Assault Heroes 1, once we saw how very cool and special it was going to turn out for the platform, and in fact, when that one came out, it really was a leader on the platform. We always hoped and prayed and had in the back of our minds that we really wanted to do a sequel, and fortunately by the time, even before the game came out, there was so much buzz about it and positive press coming out that we went, let's go, and it went in production.
And that's what we're looking at right now.
Yes,
obviously, hopefully most people are familiar with Assault Heroes. What are we going to get that's new in Assault Heroes 2?
Okay, so Assault Heroes 2 actually is substantially longer than Assault Heroes 1. We took some of the feedback. Most of the feedback, 99%, was, oh my God, we love this game. We love this game. It's a throwback to the original arcade games, which indeed was our purpose
Definitely
all
is.
along. But we wanted to make it longer, bigger, brighter, more fun, more crazy. And so we have added new environments, we have hijackable vehicles, we've added complexity to the on-foot section, which was just sort of a side bit in the first one, plus all those crazy, outrageous bosses that you love from the first one, even more.
Now, obviously, especially when you mentioned Ikari Warriors, how does the co-op work in Assault Heroes 2?
Co-op is essentially the same because it was very well received in the first one, so I didn't want to tinker with the formula too much other than maybe add a little bit something to it. So part of the game now is you do have a fourth weapon, which is the ice cannon. So as part of co-op, those co-op attacks you remember from the first one, we actually now have a fourth one. Plus there's a separate co-op mode called Zone Batter because we do realize that not everyone can sit down for 6 hours in one stretch with their pal and play through the entire game. So we've added this other zone, which is actually we grouped areas together. You can play through that area and post to a leaderboard and have that gratification in a shorter set of time.
One of the cool things, especially about this game and a lot of the Xbox Live Arcade games, are the achievements. What are some of the cooler achievements that you can achieve?
Yes. We have a lot of fun thinking up achievements. The first ones, we realized, unfortunately too late, that we didn't put the qualifier of you need to do them in normal mode or you need to do them in hard mode. So we had a lot of people just sort of a little bit skate by and do them in easy mode. And we know you guys out there, you don't need to play on easy for the most part.
Yeah.
Except for people like me who are a little bit not so skilled. So you'll find in Assault Heroes 2, some of them are a little bit more thought-provoking. We have one called Smoothie Heroes. This is one of our favorites, which is freeze 100 infantry, and then your co-op buddy goes through and drives over them and breaks 100 infantry. Or play, the really hard one is to play through the entire game co-op with a buddy on hard, finish the game. There's another one, freeze so many infantry, burn so many, because, you know, we have the flamethrower,
Right.
because everybody loves a flamethrower, don't
Yes,
they?
I do. I have a couple at home right now.
Absolutely. Finish all the underground levels. So we have a lot of really interesting achievements this time around.
And another great thing about Assault Heroes are the environments that you play in. Can you get,
Yes.
Obviously, we're looking at one right here, but what are some of the
Yes.
other ones that we can expect?
So the one you're seeing on screen right now is a jungle level. The game actually will start you off in more of a contemporary, we call it the snowy mountain setting. This right now is in a jungle level. We'll be getting hopefully to a boss here in a couple of minutes. You're also going to work your way through an alien city. Eventually, the later stages of the game, you'll find yourself in space. Another vehicle that we've added in addition to the famous Jeeps is you'll be piloting a spacecraft. And eventually, there I have a spoiler here, you'll find yourself on the mothership.
And when will we actually be able to get our hands on Assault Heroes 2?
May 14th.
Connie, thanks so much for stopping by, and congratulations on Assault Heroes 2.
Thank you very much.
All right, with that, let's head it back over to Morgan.
Now we have got to take a quick break, but first, take a shot at today's poll question. How many hours of GTA 4 have you played so far? A, less than 10, B, more than 10, or C, you can stop? Head on over to g4tv.com/xplay and be honest. We'll be right back.
Coming up on X-Play, the sex, violence, and carnage rolls on as we continue our countdown of the top 10 games for adult eyes only. Plus, we preview the new 3D fighting action of Guilty Gear 2 Overture and take a closer look at the history of the franchise with its creator. All coming up right after this.
Are celebrities worth more in one piece, or should we sell them for parts? Filter begins in 60 seconds. Hi, I'm Olivia Munn. The world throws so much at you, you need a filter. Celebrities have been insuring their body parts for ages. Here are my 3 favorites. In third place, country singer Dolly Parton once insured her breasts for $600,000. How much is that per pound? More recently, R&B chanteuse Mariah Carey had her legs insured for a cool $1 billion. Crazy is as crazy does. And finally, Tom Jones insured his chest hair for $7 million. If you don't know who Tom Jones is, ask your mom, but be warned, what you hear may alter your perception of her forever. Hit me up on the web at g4tv.com/filter. Until next time, I'm Olivia Munn, and I got a lift.
B.
One thing I really love about GTA 4 is the new car physics. It makes it so much more exciting. It feels so much more real to drive around in a car than it did in old GTAs where you just, pull the handbrake, slide around like crazy. New GTA car physics are great.
Welcome back to X-Play. Thanks for the message, Josh. Car physics are great.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree. Also, the cars feel distinct from one another.
Right.
And you feel that you can actually do crazy things when you're trying to get away from the cops, whereas before it almost felt like dumb luck.
Well, yes, and it's cool because you kind of learn the traffic patterns and the logic of GTA City of Liberty City.
Yeah.
'Cause they have a little bit of their own logic to it.
Yes, it definitely has its own logic, and now I know how to get around that logic and not just hit cop cars and run away from them.
You know that guy up there? He's going to turn left in front of you. You know he is.
You know he is. All right, the Guilty Gear series is known for its bizarre characters and classic anime styles, kind of like Street Fighter's creepy emo cousin. For the series' first foray into 3D, the gameplay has been changed, and it's no longer a standard fighter. Instead, it's almost like someone threw Devil May Cry and RTS games in a blender. Here's our preview of Guilty Gear 2 Overture. At a certain point, every well-tread franchise is bound to do a genre flip. We can handle it. So it is with the upcoming Guilty Gear Overture.
Let's rock.
Gone to the oh-so-simple guitar-wielding witch versus sexy nun who's actually a boy fighting game days. This Guilty Gear is an RTS. Take control of one of several Guilty Gear denizens as they generate, manage, and lead their armies into battle. Gotta go. Strategy and character choice looks key as each combatant has an army representative of their personality in both design and operation. Guilty Gear Overture also appears to contain several other modes of play, which should please those looking to deviate from its RTS foundation. Look for our full review of Guilty Gear Overture later this year.
Keep on rocking.
Right on time.
Guilty Gear's unusual design choices, a boy named Bridget, who's a nun, for example, have struck a chord with some gamers, and the series has been going strong since the early PS1 days. For more on the Guilty Gear and its history, we recently sat down with the series creator, Daisuke Ishiwatari.
Perfect! Let's rock! With the release of Guilty Gear 2 Overture coming up, we decided to take a look back at the series with creator Daisuke Ishiwatari. So if you haven't been keeping up for the last decade, here's Guilty Gear in a nutshell.
It's set in the future, and the humans create a very powerful living weapon known as the Gears. At some point, the Gears turn against the humans, starting a global war.
But it's not just any fighter.
Before Guilty Gear, lots of fighting games had like 30 characters to play with, and that was a big selling feature. We chose to focus on fewer characters, but with more unique abilities, with extreme weaknesses and strengths.
Now the new game is making the big switch to 3D, but not everything has changed.
Soul Bad Guy will be in the new game, as well as his rival and sometimes friend, Kai Kiss, but all the other characters are designed specifically for the Guilty Gear 2 series.
As for Ishiwatari's favorite character,
I really liked Zato 1, who turns into Eddie later in the series, but I love them all because they're all my children.
And as much fun as reminiscing is, he's very excited to show off the new game.
I think we were the first ones to pull off this blend of action and strategy completely. Other titles have both elements, but they don't work together. But in Guilty Gear 2 Overture, they work deeply together to make a whole game, and we're very proud of that.
Guilty Gear's departure from 2D fighting made us nostalgic for our favorite button mashers, where the main characters could only move back and forth. In today's Exos, we run down our favorite 2D fighters. At number 5 is Samurai Showdown 2. SNK's masterpiece is the reason many poor bastards owned a Neo Geo. It also has some of the best English ever.
Number 4 is Street Fighter Alpha 3. This mishmash has been ported all over the place and gets the unusual distinction of having the PSP port be the version to own. At number 3 is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Don't think this game looks good? Check the eBay prices. That's how good it is.
Number 2 is Guilty Gear X2, also known as Guilty Gear XX. This game introduced us to Bridget, the adolescent she-male bounty hunter who dresses like a nun and carries a teddy bear. I believe it's illegal to own this game in the Bible Belt.
And our number 1 2D fighter is Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. It was the last Street Fighter to grace arcades and is the third part 3. Despite the confusion, it's the game to play until you can get your hands on part 4.
All right, G4 is going to be presenting the world television premiere of the acclaimed film, The King of Kong.
In 2007, a film crew set out to document the world of competitive arcade gaming. What they discovered instead was an epic conflict, a battle for gaming's most controversial world record, the top score in Donkey Kong. Catch The King of Kong world television premiere June 1st, only on G4.
And when X-Play returns, we continue our countdown of the top 5 games made for adults. Custer's Revenge is not on it, thank God.
But first, let's find out who we should be afraid of in today's leaderboard for Grand Theft Auto 4.
Yo, we're your ninjas.
Call or click today.
Take G4 on the road. Download this show now as a G4 podcast.
If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life, yeah. G4 X-Play.
Welcome back to X-Play. Earlier in the show, we asked you how many hours of GTA 4 have you played so far? The internet has just spit out a punch card, and it looks like the current leader is You Can Stop with 46%.
Also at the top of the show, or the period as we like to call the before time, we took a look at some of our top games for adult eyes only. Well, that's not to say that these games are pornographic or obscene, but mature titles that push the envelope and are the polar opposite of whatever Nintendo produces. Here are our top 5. Condemned 2 Bloodshot checks in at number 5 on our list of games for adult eyes only. Besides getting to work over people with exploding baby dolls and toilet seat covers, this game made the grade because of its very mature content. It may not have aged all that well, but you can't compile a list like this without the Leisure Suit Larry series. This collection of shameless sex comedy video games makes Benny Hill seem subtle and nuanced.
Don't get frustrated. Your breasts put you at a natural disadvantage.
Clearly, these aren't going to win any awards from now, but the series somehow makes us nostalgic for our formative years.
Fred, can't you see we're trying to here?
Good times. At number 3, we have BioShock, a first-person shooter that lives up to every ounce of hype. From the very moment the game begins, you are immersed in a fully realized universe that asks philosophical questions that adults everywhere can appreciate. Oh, and did we mention that you can shoot lightning out of your fingertips? That's cool, too. Mass Effect hurdles into second place primarily because of its intelligently executed storyline. The other reason is the controversy over the game's sex scene, which was relentlessly hyped up by mouth-breathing, uninformed hate-mongers at Fox News. In reality, the scene in question isn't all that graphic and doesn't feel gratuitous or over the top. However, if you happen to have a fetish for long elevator rides, this game will make you harder than the last level of Ikaruga. Locking it at number 1, we probably don't need to explain why Grand Theft Auto 4 is our favorite game for mature players. It's the pinnacle of the series, and the surprisingly sharp plot is just one of the many reasons why.
And you don't worry about your soul?
Forget about hot coffee for a minute. This franchise succeeds because it provides an astoundingly well-executed universe in which to let your id run wild. GTA 4 truly is the best experience out there, for adult eyes only.
On tomorrow's show, by popular demand, find out what all the buzz is about with our preview of Star Wars The Force Unleashed for the Wii. Plus, new footage from Silicon Knights 2 Human is turning heads online. See it for yourself in our interview with the game's creator, Dennis Dyack. And you'll feel the thrill of enlisting with the latest gameplay from SOCOM Confrontation for the PlayStation 3. Plus, we answer your questions in the virtual audience. All that and more coming up Friday at 8 p.m.
We have got a great show for everyone tomorrow, so you have to check it out. Of course, up next, we have Ninja Warrior.
So see you tomorrow.